Welcome to the All Sports Podcast, looking to bring you the best and most entertaining podcast about sports there is around. We hope you respect our opinions as we look to respect yours. This podcast is for entertainment and analytical purposes only and made to have fun. Leave us your thoughts of our topics and comments in the comments section below. We hope you will enjoy the podcast, like the videos, and subscribe to the channel. Welcome back to the All Sports Podcast. We're kind of behind on schedule, but finals kind of got us caught up, and we're just trying to get kind of going on our break. My name is Jonah, of course. I'm with my buddy Gentry. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. Depressed Georgia fan.
Yeah, big loss right there. Puts them back in the Sugar Bowl. We'll get talking about that one. We got a lot to talk about, so we're just going to hop right into it. Beginning with the Conference USA Championship between the FAU Owls and the UAB Blazers. FAU just destroys them in dominating fashion, a 49-6 victory. I chose UAB. Gentry went with FAU. I don't think we have much to say here. It was just kind of dominating, unless you got something to say.
Interesting fact is Lane Kiffin dipped and went to Ole Miss.
Yeah, and Georgia Southern's got to play them next year. Woo! So that'll be fun. But I mean, hey, he gets SMU. Or they do at least. They get to play SMU tomorrow in the Boca Raton Bowl at home, basically. So nice little, hopefully, closing to the end of the season for FAU. Moving on to the MAC Championship, Miami out of Ohio wins a pretty great game between them and the Chippewas of Central Michigan, 26-21 after Central Michigan went for the last Hail Mary shot. Miami out of Ohio's defense stood up to what Gage kind of said they would do. Our last podcast special guest. Me and Gentry thought Central Michigan had it, but Miami out of Ohio, of course, victorious. Moving on to the Mountain West Conference Championship, Boise State takes care of business at home with a 31-10 victory over the Rainbow Warriors. This doesn't give Boise State the Cotton Bowl, but it does give them a date with who do they play? I'm looking.
They didn't play somebody good.
I know they play a Power 5 team. Oh, it's Washington. That's right. They play Washington against Jacob Eason and the Huskies in the Las Vegas Bowl. So, I mean, that game will go either way. I don't know. But, again, Boise State.
I wonder what he's going to get drafted.
I have no clue. I think he'll come back for senior year, unless he's already a senior.
Yeah,
What do you
he's
mean?
a senior this year.
Oh, wow. Holy crap. Kind of a wasteful career of Jacob Eason. That's tough. The Sun Belt Conference Championship between Appalachian State and Louisiana Lafayette. Appalachian State went up 21-0 in the first quarter. Kind of took care of business the rest of the game, but Lafayette makes it close, but still loses 45-38. And App State wins its fourth consecutive Sun Belt Conference title and second consecutive conference championship game. App State does not go to the Belk Bowl nor the Cotton Bowl due to Memphis's win against Cincinnati. App State stays at rank number 20. They have a date with UAB in the New Orleans Arnell Carriers Bowl.
That's tough. That's not even that good of a bowl.
Yeah, they're going there for like the third straight year now. It's kind of hurtful. I'd be hurtful. Me and Gentry believed in App State. Gage thought Lafayette pulled out the upset. I was kind of hoping for it myself, but it just didn't happen. In the American Athletic Conference, Mike Norville and the Memphis Tigers pull out the dramatic 29-24 victory over the Bearcats, and they are the Group of 5 team that gets a date in the Cotton Bowl against the Penn State Nittany Lions. Memphis, a really good team, kind of a throw up there between them and Penn State. I might go with Penn State in that one, but Memphis is gonna keep it kind of close.
Penn State's going to be trying hard though because their season was a failure. And James Franklin was probably on the hot seat. But man might go to USC.
Ain't no telling where he'll go.
That's annoying though. Everybody in college football, if somebody's about to get fired, they're like, oh, they're about to go to USC. Like USC is 80th in recruiting right now from the early signing day.
Freaking App State is better than that. App State got 68th in the nation.
USC, oof.
But that's Mike Norvell is going to Florida State, I think. Actually, I think that's where he's going. Either way, Memphis has got Penn State in the Cotton Bowl. In the ACC Championship, Clemson does what Clemson does. They beat the Cavaliers for their 5th consecutive ACC title with the 62-17 victory, giving Clemson the playoff spot.
Yeah, their toughest opponent was the bye week.
Oh my God. In the Pac-12, the Oregon Ducks not really pull up a stunner, but kind of just shock the college football world. Yep. Gentry went with the Ducks. Me and Gage believed in the Utes. Utahs get pushed out. And Oregon with the Pac-12 dominating victory over the Utes 37-15 in a rainy one in Santa Clara. Just Justin Herbert played like Justin Herbert. Their running back, I think, was player of the game maybe. I forgot who he was, but either way, it doesn't matter. The quarterback for Utah didn't look like himself all season in that game. It was a mess, but Oregon came out on top with the victory. In the Big Ten Championship, Wisconsin had a nice lead in the first half, but Ohio State's second half surge punches their ticket into the playoffs, winning the Big Ten title. Again, we'll get to these playoff teams later on. We'll talk more about them. We're just kind of recapping the games that took place, and
They had a upset alert going there for a minute.
Yeah, but again, Ohio State kind of took charge. And the Big 12 Championship was a great game in Arlington, Texas, as the Sooners pick up the overtime victory over the Baylor Bears this time. Baylor was actually down in this game and forced overtime with Oklahoma, but they unfortunately fall 30-24, given a valiant effort, and they have a date with the Georgia Dogs in the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, they're liable to beat the dog bleep out of my dogs by 4 touchdowns.
And moving on finally to the big game, the SEC Championship. Well, what we thought would be the big game kind of turned out to what the experts believe. A close first half. It was a victory in Georgia's book, honestly. A 17-3 lead for LSU. Joe Burrow was kind of on fire. Not really. I mean, kind of had some mistakes here and there. Georgia had 2 big missed passes wide open by Robertson and Simmons. Jake Fromm gets hurt from Grant Delpit. He's not the same the rest of the game. And the Georgia Dogs go back to the Sugar Bowl as they lose 37-10, and LSU makes their way into their first ever college football playoff.
Tyler Simmons has got to be the worst player in Georgia history with the most snaps.
He struggled this season.
Thank God he's a senior.
Probably best for Georgia. My thing is, though, I don't know how Kirby's going to. I mean, yeah, he dropped the wide open pass, but he's got to calm down with Jake Fromm. The Jake Fromm didn't play, the wide receivers. You had hurt wide receivers, and the wide receivers didn't play to their best ability. But at some point, you just got to blame it on Fromm.
They basically had 3 healthy wide receivers, though, because Kearis Jackson got hurt too.
I mean, you can't say that your wide receivers are not round 1 talents in the NFL draft. And I mean, yes, LSU had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, but come on, man. You can't say, did we have the same talent as last year? No. And it's kind of hard for Fromm to throw somebody the ball like that. No, you can't say that. That just demoralizes your team. Nobody wants to go to a toxic coach team if you say something like that. It just doesn't make sense. And I don't know why he would say that, but either way, he's going back to the Sugar Bowl, and he needs to get his act together. Or
he'd rather trash team like morale than the quarterback. It's ridiculous.
You gotta point fingers in the right direction. Is what I'm trying to get.
He needs to get his coffee buddy James Coley out the freaking. Oh man, I'm about to freaking curse.
James Coley, he's kind of struggled all season. I don't know how he's still.
Watch South Carolina's offense take off.
Good Lord. Brian Hozinski, quarterback. That'd be funny.
I hate that guy. That freaking dumb gesture he did when they won. They won their Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Moving on to the meat of this podcast. We'll first off talk about each team in this list from the December 3rd rankings. and then we will move on to each game and we will analyze them specifically. Starting off, we'll go with the December 3rd college football playoff rankings. We'll talk about who came in at number 4, who slipped past Utah and Georgia after both of them lose. It is the 12-1 Oklahoma Sooners, Big 12 champions, led by an astounding offense with Lincoln Riley. A better defense, still not great, but it's better for Oklahoma terms. And just Jalen Hurts has got Oklahoma going. They get put in at the 4 for the 3rd year in a row. They find a playoff spot. Honestly, Oklahoma, they got a tall task ahead of them with LSU.
I think that's more. Well, never mind, that don't even make sense. But I was about to say that's more upset prone than Clemson and Ohio State. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be an upset if Ohio State beat Clemson. I guess. I don't know.
I mean, Clemson is kind of is the team that you don't want to play, but I mean.
Yeah, don't get on those Dabo rants. He freaking thinks that the Clemson should be ranked undisputedly number 1.
I mean, heck, they got what, a 25 game or 28, something like that game, something going like that. I mean, heck, they haven't lost a game since then. So I mean, he's got a case.
It's a sad case.
It's like Kirk Herbstreit that said though, I forget whatever the African American's guy name is on the college football playoff show or whatever, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
He was like, if you beat Ohio State and LSU/Oklahoma, then you prove your case to be the best team in the league. Just do it in these 2 games, which I mean that's a fair point.
Then their resume isn't nice. To square one with a crap schedule.
Yeah, but I mean, you can say you're the best team this year if you can beat these 2, Ohio State and LSU. Not necessarily Oklahoma, but I mean, still. But Oklahoma, they kind of had an up and down season. They lost 1 to Kansas State. They beat Baylor with a 25-point comeback that kind of rerouted their season back to where they wanted it to be. Lincoln Riley has got things going. He's had 3 amazing quarterbacks come back to back with him in Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, and now Jalen Hurts. Sorry.
Yeah, my teacher told me to watch out for that Oklahoma LSU game because he said Jalen Hurts knows a lot about LSU.
Yeah, I think didn't Jalen beat LSU in Death Valley? Was that him?
His freshman year. Well, Tua did, but I don't know.
Oh, Tua did.
29-0.
Yeah, and Jalen Hurts knows about being on the big stage. He's won a title. He's won an SEC title with the comeback and the game-winning drive against Georgia.
Yeah, he did beat LSU though, because before this year, last time LSU won that game was when we were in elementary school, 8 years ago.
Yeah, and so Jalen Hurts is ready to take on LSU. It's nothing crazy. I mean, I think LSU will take care of business, but I mean, it's possible.
I just think they're overrating the defense a little bit. That Georgia offense is not too good, for being honest here.
Yeah, Georgia's offense kind of struggled this year, but it's nothing like that Oklahoma
Only
offense.
Averaged 24 points a game.
Oklahoma's offense is way better, so I mean, it'll be a harder task for them to take care of.
And they got a mobile QB.
I don't think LSU has played an offense like Oklahoma this year, so it'll be a different feeling for LSU when Ed Orgeron.
Oklahoma always has good tight ends. I'm trying to figure out where they're going.
They got that running back too. What's the running back's name?
To be honest with you, I'm so biased. I'm not good with running backs unless it's like Swift.
Let me see here. I'll try to look him up real quick. I know the running back is good. He got the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah, I was about to say that he's pretty good. I just don't know his name, which is a yikes. But
what the heck is all these names? Oh, Kennedy Brooks. There you go.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
he got the game-winning touchdown against Baylor. He'll have to be a key factor because obviously LSU is going to have guys just hawk down Jalen Hurts and CeeDee Lamb the whole time, so he'll also be a key factor. Oklahoma, this offense is a top 5 in the nation, and LSU's defense isn't what people think it is.
CeeDee Lamb's got to go for like a 200, 250 yard game for them to have a shot.
Yeah, them too. Jalen and him have to connect very well to get going.
Got to get to the big white fella over the middle too.
I mean, everything's got to work for Oklahoma. Really can't have any mistakes. No team can have a mistake against LSU because if you make one and let Joe Burrow go out there and do his thing, it's going to be over in quicker than you can say your mascot's name, whoever you are.
After he threw that daggum 60-something yard pass against Georgia, that was demoralizing. He freaking
that was his Heisman moment.
Did a circle in the pocket and just looks up and throws a freaking 67 yard dot.
Crossbody somewhat, like hey. But LSU or Oklahoma comes in at number 4. They have a tall task ahead of them with the Bayou Bengals and Ed Orgeron, which we will get to in a minute. Clemson, once again, they're on a 28, 29 game win streak or something like that? I don't know.
I think it's 29 now.
And Clemson's just being
They're legit though, because like after last year, I mean, they're a legit team. There's no doubt. They might even be number 1, but it's, people just get bored because you can't tell because they don't play nobody serious.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like they get an unfair advantage almost, because they can start watching tape and stuff on the playoff opponents with like 4 weeks left in the season in my mind. Because, I mean, is Georgia Tech going to challenge Clemson? No. Is Miami going to challenge? No.
I mean, Virginia did when it was 7-0.
For what, 5 minutes?
I mean,
62 to 17. That's dang near a basketball score.
That's a blowout. I mean, Clemson, though, I mean, they don't have the defense they used to have. I mean, it's still good, yeah, but it's not that front 7 from last year. That front 7 last year was insane.
Trevor Lawrence took a step back at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, first 4 games he was kind of slack, but the rest of the way he's been a little sun shining up over there. And Clemson, South Carolina.
He lost the Heisman in 2 games.
that North Carolina game kind of.
There comes Broadway Joe. He stole it.
Yeah. That North Carolina game kind of messed up Trevor Lawrence. Good Lord.
I mean, I feel better going to bed saying that Georgia lost to the freaking one of the best offenses in college football history.
As a Georgia Southern fan, I'm proud to say that Georgia Southern lost to the national champions, which is fine with me. So. And the LSU Bayou Bengals.
I don't know about that.
Clemson and Dabo. Dabo's been kind of. Yikes. Dabo's been kind of complaining and whining. I mean, kind of rightfully so, but I mean, if you take care of business, then the committee has no other choice but to put you in, so there's really no reason for you to complain if you know you can take care of business and win. So, there's no reason to complain. I don't understand, like, why. What the big deal is.
I wouldn't want to be number 1. The stats does not favor the number 1 team in this recent playoff memory, even though it's only been around for like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, because last year the number 3 team what was Georgia in 2017?
They were.
I mean, they were either second.
They
or
were
third,
3.
So they were 3. Yeah, I mean the 3rd and 4th team made it to the championship that year, Georgia and Alabama. So I mean, like.
Or were they 2? I don't even remember.
Only thing that these numbers make is who plays who. These numbers don't mean anything right now anymore.
I don't even remember who number 1 was. Oh yeah, I do. Clemson. Alabama was 4. Wait, no. Yeah, Georgia was 3.
Alabama was 4.
Was 4.
Clemson was 1. Yeah.
Alright, wait. Hold on, true. Alabama was 4. I think Georgia was number 2.
I do
because
too.
Oklahoma was number 3. Yeah.
Because Oklahoma wore those white jerseys.
Yeah, Georgia was number 2 because that was the year that they had them right
No,
now.
Oklahoma was number 2, Georgia was number 3, and Alabama was number 4. Clemson being
I was
number
about
1.
to say. That's wild.
And the greatest Rose Bowl in history of Rose Bowls.
Yeah, that's the best guy I ever watched. A little cocky. SOB did the throat slash and then he got his
and old Buddy Hot Rod and went 55 yards.
Now he can't even make a 28-yarder in the SEC championship this year. That's another discussion. He still won the dang award though.
He's going to the NFL too, so I mean, doesn't matter.
He'll be the best kicker in NFL history.
Good Lord. Stop.
Just gotta wait on Brady's right hand man to retire. A real goat.
We're not even going to speak on that. But Clemson, Dabo, they make it to the playoffs for like the 5th, 4th straight year. I don't know. They're back in it again. They've been in it every year except for like the first one, maybe. I think because the first one had like
the one with Oregon and Ohio State,
and Florida State and Michigan State.
Yeah.
What a freak! What a difference 6 years has made from 2014 Ohio State champions to soon 2020. Freaking Ohio State, Oregon, Florida State, and Michigan State. What a top 4.
Holy crap, Zeke's already been in the league for 6 years.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Actually, I think Alabama was in the first one. I don't think it was Michigan State. I don't know. I swear Michigan State made it, though.
I think Alabama was in
it was definitely Florida State and Oregon.
Alabama was in though, I think.
So that means like
people were calling it the Alabama Invitational. The only year they didn't make it is this year.
So that means Michigan State made it in the 2015 one? No. Ohio State won in 2015. What? So who was 2014? 2014 was the last of the BCS. So 2015 was the first year. But who was in the playoffs? That's my question. It was Alabama and Ohio State, Oregon, and Florida State. Okay. 2016 it was
who was number 4
Oklahoma, Alabama. There it is, Michigan State. There they are. Huh?
Who was number 4 in the first playoff?
In the very first playoff, it was Alabama at number 1, Oregon at number 2, Florida State at 3, and Ohio State at 4.
So technically you want to be every number in that except for 1.
Yeah. Pretty much.
One's supposed to get the most favorable matchup, but
I don't think a 1 seed has ever won. It's kind of crazy.
No.
Well, no, Clemson won last year, didn't they?
They wasn't a 1 seed though.
What?
Alabama was the 1 seed.
Damn. They got bodied last year too, 44-16 by this Clemson team.
I enjoyed that.
It's kind of crazy. What Clemson back in the college football playoff
for about 25 minutes. I actually enjoyed them.
Them and Sunshine were taking care of business.
But Clemson back into the playoffs for like the 4th straight year or so. Looking to do their thing. The committee put Ohio State Buckeyes in at number 2. LSU beats them out. Ohio State kind of probably feels snubbed of that number 1 spot. That they have to play Clemson instead of LSU, but either way, it's gonna be interesting. Ohio State has the date with Clemson in the Fiesta Bowl. That defense is pretty solid. Obviously, the offense is great with J.K. Dobbins and Justin Fields.
just tearing it apart. Former Georgia quarterback. Not to mean anything, but
Jesus.
Ohio State looks pretty good. But
Georgia had him, they'd be in the national championship game this year. But hey, let's stick with the white guy that has bricks for feet.
Yeah. Ohio State had a pretty good season. They demolished Wisconsin twice. They took care of business against Michigan. I don't think they ever had a close matchup. Maybe with Penn State or so.
Who?
Ohio State.
Yeah, that was the only semi-close game. And that's because they had like 3 turnovers.
Yeah. Ohio State's a really good team. Make it to the playoffs since like 2015 or whatever I just said or so.
I know how Urban Meyer feels.
He's probably happy. He's probably jumping up and down with Jordan.
He's gotta be a fan of them. Can't be a fan of Florida. Because they can't even beat Georgia.
Man, at least Georgia's got something going for them there. But Ohio State, they get placed at number 2. Moving on to the number 1 ranked Bayou Bengals, LSU Tigers. Boys in
Joe Barry was going to become a Bengal. Cincinnati.
That's going to be bad. Just imagine you go from that to being the freaking Cincinnati Bengal. That's got to suck. But either way, LSU, they come in as the best team in the nation. Quite obviously, well-deserved in that number 1 spot. Ed Orgeron beats Alabama after an 8-year drought of losing to them.
Wonder how that team's going to look next year. It's got to be the most interesting team in the offseason.
They got a lot of teams leaving, so. There are a lot of people leaving, sorry.
Yeah, Nick Saban going to be coming back spitting fire.
Yeah.
With a senior too.
They got a matchup with Michigan in the Capital One Bowl.
And Georgia plays them next year. Jesus.
That's hilarious. Ooh, that'd be a good one.
And they go to Bryant Denny.
LSU, I think they're the best team. They have the best offense in the nation, quite obviously, with Heisman winner Joe Burrow. And
I think their defense has potential. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that Georgia offense is, to put it honest and be candid, it's pretty garbage.
Yeah. I mean, that I've seen what that defense been able to do after week 1, and they just haven't done it the rest of the season. But I mean, they can
LSU,
do it.
I don't know if it was the running back or the quarterback. I'm assuming it's the running back. Freaking went to town on that defense, and they give up 38 to freaking Vanderbilt.
It's very hit or miss with that defense, quite honestly. It's just like.
It's an inconsistent group.
Yeah, but when they're on, they're on, and when they're off, they give up 38 to Vanderbilt and 400 yards to Ole Miss. It's just like, what?
It's what all the hopeful Georgia fans thought, that Georgia would run all over them, but yeah, that wasn't going to happen.
I don't even know if, what was his name? Swift, he didn't even have like 10 carries or 10 touches at all, so.
Yeah, you don't even think he had 10 yards.
That's just like, yeah, he even have to, God.
Georgia's running backs was overrated going into this year, if we're being honest, by everybody.
I don't even think that.
I think the whole Georgia team's overrated. They just got to prove themselves.
Oh, yeah.
If they win week 3 next year, that's a dang good statement.
If they beat Alabama next year, then they can be on track back to where they should be, but they're not there, so.
2017, they were, I'm not trying to turn this video into that, but they were the best team in the nation. They just got out-coached in the second half.
That's pretty fair, if you ask. But this year's the Bayou Bengals and the LSU Tigers. They get put in at number 1 over Ohio State, and they get the Oklahoma Sooners. Let's first talk about the kind of not necessarily fun, the better to watch game, but it's still got LSU and Oklahoma. It's a college football playoff game. Who wouldn't want to watch? In Atlanta, in the Peach Bowl. It's the number 1 LSU Tigers and the number 4 Oklahoma Sooners. I mean, 2 stout offenses, potentially great defense versus an average defense. Obviously, LSU is heavily favored here. It's just that Oklahoma, they just haven't played anybody like this all year. LSU has. They beat Alabama. They beat Texas when Texas was good before they went 7-5. They beat Alabama. They beat Georgia. They beat Auburn, Florida. They just beat everybody this year. If you got in their way, you were getting beat. And LSU honestly looks like the winner in this game, and they'll take on the winner of the Fiesta Bowl.
All Oklahoma's got to do is limit the big plays. Joe Burrow's going to get some, of course, because the offense is crazy, but they just got to limit them.
I mean, if you make LSU have to go like over 10 plays to get down the field, then that's honestly a win. I mean, because I don't think they've had to work very hard for touchdowns this year, quite honestly. But Jalen Hurts has to step up against that LSU defense. That, again, can potentially be great. What does Oklahoma have? What is out of the whole game? What does Oklahoma have to do to win?
CD Lamb has to have 200 yards. The running back has to have at least 100 yards, and Jalen Hurts has to have 150 yards on the ground and 300 yards in the air.
Good Lord.
Yes, a lot. And they have to get Joe Burrow to turn the ball over at least one time.
I was about to say, what do they have to do to stop that LSU offense?
Just got to send pressure, and if you don't, just send 3 men. Kirby. But yeah, just don't freaking send 3 men. Jesus, dude.
I honestly don't think Joe Burrow has ever received as much pressure at all this season, so I think that'll be the X factor. Can Oklahoma get the pressure to him? Because we haven't seen Joe Burrow under pressure. I mean, we have, but...
Big problem is they lost their best pass rusher in the suspension. Yeah, lost their best pass rusher. Lost their 2 best defensive players.
Yeah.
Because apparently they all 3 failed a drug test.
Oh, of course. No football player can go without passing a drug test. Just insane.
Lincoln Riley's not commenting on it. I don't blame him.
Okay, I wouldn't either. I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, freaking James Cooks over here getting arrested.
Yeah, that was bad.
Shows you how much Georgia cares.
What does LSU have to do to win this game against Oklahoma?
They just got to do not even what they did against Georgia. If they just do, even if they have an off game, I think they'll still win. They just got to. Big thing is they got to start the guns early. Just got to get it going. Come out the gate with the up tempo. That's what's kind of scary to me. That offense they have is like an NFL tempo because of who they have. I forget his name. I think it's like Joe Brady or something. Yeah.
Offense coordinator.
He came from the freaking Saints. Yeah.
Yep.
The freaking Saints with Sean Payton. Good
New
Lord.
Orleans to Baton Rouge.
Joe Burrow reminds me of a taller Drew Brees now I think about it.
Oklahoma's offense is obviously really good. What does this kind of shaky LSU defense got to do to kind of stop them in their tracks?
Forgive me because I don't know his name, but the young prodigy that plays cornerback. He's got to get an interception. Yep.
Got the two
He
interceptions.
got two on from Jake Froome.
I forgot about him, 5-star. That boy was pretty good in that game.
LSU was good at getting some pressure on Froome, so if they can just do that to Jalen, but I think they got to watch out with it. Jalen don't have brick feet, and he'll move.
Yeah, he knows his way around the pocket.
His
pretty
accuracy has improved tremendously. He's also very clutch.
Very true. Touchdown, Alabama.
Came back like 28-3 against Baylor.
Came back 20 to. Oh no, that was Tua. Sorry, just kidding.
All you gotta do to beat Georgia is put in your second string quarterback.
I mean, Joe Burrow was the second string quarterback at Ohio State. He transferred.
Jesus.
He's the best quarterback that we've seen in a while. LSU and Oklahoma, obviously LSU's the favorite. We'll talk about more of these games later on whenever we get to it. The games are a week from now. When you're watching this podcast, it could be any time, but for us, the game is a week from now. And we'll talk more about that Thursday or Friday.
Just watch out for Jalen Hurts, because I got a feeling, not no upset, but I'm talking about like a scare factor. He knows LSU better than people remember.
Honestly, I could see Lincoln Riley in Oklahoma coming out guns blazing, going big, trying to score on one play and stuff.
Yeah, those are like, what the heck?
It's like, go Tigers, but what in the world is this offense doing for you? It's just like, by God, we weren't ready for that.
Need some gumbo when I get home. Just give me stress, man.
We haven't faced a team like this all season. Now we got to change it up.
Georgia had that high school offense. Now we got to face a real offense. My God.
But in the Peach Bowl in Atlanta in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the #1 LSU-ranked Bayou Bengals will take on the Boomer Sooners of Oklahoma in Atlanta on the 28th of December. Moving on to the Fiesta Bowl, #2 Ohio State versus #3 Clemson. Ohio State coming off of a monumentous win, and not really monumentous, but kind of motivational win against Wisconsin. Clemson just obliterating everybody they face, winning like 29 in a row. What does Clemson have to do to win this football game?
They got to tell Trevor Lawrence not to turn the ball over. If you see Chase Young coming, I know he's freaking scary. He's not a real man, but you just gotta hold on to the ball and not throw it in the covers. You gotta get Travis Etienne going to help take the pressure off the passing game. You got some of the best receivers in the nation, from Justin Ross and shoot, I can't even think of his name. I don't know why. He's like the best receiver in the daggone nation besides Judy. Freaking. Oh, Lord.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know Clemson. I just know old Goldilocks and Travis Etienne.
I really gotta look this up right now.
While you look this up, what do they got to do on defense for Ohio State's stout offense?
Be honest with you, they just gotta send pressure, because Justin Fields don't do good with pressure, but I don't really know any names that they have that you could look out for, because I am not a ACC fan at all, so I don't watch. I do respect. That's his name, T. Higgins. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, he's a beast. You gotta watch out for him. Travis Etienne, he can get going easily, so. But Chase Young's probably gonna do some crazy stuff I ain't never seen. Last thing I've seen close to him was Roquan Smith.
Moving on over to the Buckeyes side of things, what does Ryan Day and Justin Fields have to work up to take on Clemson in that pretty good defense?
Justin Fields has just got to stick to option that they've been running some read option, some speed option. They've been running some nice plays then and there. Just got to get J.K. Dobbins at least 20-25 carries. And they got to limit the turnovers. Man, I say that because they give him 31 against Michigan, so they look to force feed him. And
yeah.
Master T, I don't know if he'll get any touches. He's pretty good on the old video game though, but he may get some touches, but trying to think what else they can do.
He'll get touches if they start
I only
blowing
know
up.
like one receiver that they have. I think his name's like Olav. I don't know how to exactly pronounce it. Shoot. No, I'm embarrassing myself at this point, but if you know college football well enough, you know what I'm talking about.
And Ohio State's defense, I mean, it's kind of like Oklahoma's, but it's definitely better than Oklahoma's. What does this have to do to stop old Sunshine and ETN, Ross, T. Higgins? A lot of threats for Clemson. What does Ohio State have to do to stop this Tiger team?
I could see Chase Young get 3 sacks unless they start triple teaming him. That's the only way you're stopping him. Double teams don't even phase that young man. It's freaking ridiculous. But I think the big key for him is he got to force a fumble. He's good at that. He forced like 3 fumbles against Northwestern, I think it was. And he got 4 or 5 sacks against one team this year. He did get shut out against Michigan, so that's like a red flag.
I do remember that.
That these big teams know how to shut him down.
He didn't get anything in that Michigan game.
If that happens to him, though, they just need to take him off the edge and make him play like a middle linebacker type role.
That'd be insane.
Just try to spy. Just imagine getting hit by that, man. Jesus.
That'd be crazy. Overall, how do you think this matchup fares? Who do you think will kind of step up and take care of business?
I mean, this is more of like a bland, easy thing to say, but I think it all comes down to Justin Fields. He's the ultimate X factor between everything and everybody. Like, how is he going to play? How is he going to deal with the adversity? Ohio State's basically led their games all year. So has Clemson. So how are they both going to deal with the adversity? I've seen to be fair, he was injured in this game with his hand, I'm pretty sure. I think it was like his right or left wrist. He did fumble 3 times against Penn State, so that's like a big thing. Just got to limit the turnovers and don't panic. Even so, he still came out like a beast and was just throwing easy freaking passes like it was backyard football. I mean, Justin Fields is the best quarterback in Georgia football history. Like high school, collegiate levels, whatever, they just let him walk. But I'm not getting into that. But I'm just telling you that going into next year, when you talk about best quarterback, if Tua's gone, it's going to be between Trevor and Justin Fields, number 1 and number 2 recruits in 2018. Trevor was number 2 and Fields was number 1.
What do you think will kind of happen? What's your early prediction as of right now, without any kind of thoughts given out about the game so far?
I think Ohio State's going to win by a touchdown.
I like Ohio State in this matchup, but honestly, I find it very hard.
It's just hard I understand.
Yeah, it's just kind of hard to go against Clemson, especially since
I really don't want to see Ohio State win. I think they will. I think they'll win the whole thing the way I feel right now, but I really don't want to see that, for God's sake.
I think Ohio State can win.
It gives me nightmares knowing that young man is in freaking scarlet and gray instead of red and black.
I would like to see the LSU Tigers versus Clemson Tigers. I think that'll be the best matchup out of all these 4 teams, honestly. So
most people think it's Ohio State versus LSU, and they think that's like a lock for some reason, like Clemson's not good or something. Like I said, I know they don't play nobody, but we seen last year they boat raced them.
I mean, just wasn't even close last year. Like, nobody expected that out of the
freshman quarterback. They took Tua out of his element and just sent pressure. He got scared.
Yeah, it was just kind of unbelievable how they played last year.
Trevor Lawrence was just throwing with ease, too.
He was finding Justin Ross all over the field for nearly 200 yards.
Nick Saban's probably like, "Dadgum, I should have recruited that man." As he was from Alabama.
Wait, no, for the Peach Bowl, I didn't necessarily ask you this, but how do you think who's going to be the X factor at the Peach Bowl?
Oof. You know, gonna be Mr. O'Leary.
Oh, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, be him. Because everybody underrates him.
I like
Talk about elite running backs. You ain't heard about him all year. I didn't see what he could do in that game because Burrow had the pass game going, but to be fair, I think Georgia had the second. I mean, you can debate that. They had the top 3 rushing defense, so of course he was going to get bottled up. But Oklahoma's defense is not as great as Georgia's and Clemson, so he should be able to get in his bag. Given that they have their best 2 defensive players suspended too.
Yeah. Overall, what's your kind of dream matchup in New Orleans, in Mercedes-Benz Superdome? What's your dream matchup? What 2 teams do you think are going to make it?
My dream matchup would be freaking mine would be Ohio State and Oklahoma. But we know that's not happening. I want Oklahoma to win because that's the only team I don't dislike in some way. But making it, I got, this is tough. I got Ohio State and LSU. I don't know why I'm thinking Ohio State. I just got a feeling Ryan Day something serious.
Who do you have winning out of all 4 teams?
Have Ohio State winning.
Interesting. I think we'll see a Tiger matchup in New Orleans between LSU and Clemson, honestly. I think Clemson will take care of business and prove what Dabo's been saying all along, and then they'll face the Bayou Bengals and meet their make with Ed Orgeron and Joe.
And that will be one depressing podcast, being a diehard Georgia fan, knowing that. I mean, I keep saying this, I'm sure it's annoying, but just, I mean, man, you just let that man leave, didn't even try, man. Just because some, I was about to curse, but my matureness keep me. Just because some trash can baseball player called you a racial slur. You just gotta think about the bigger picture, man.
Hilarious.
He won't be nothing in life being a racist. 2020, it's time to get over it.
In the beginning, I really thought that Kirby would just put Jake Fromm out there because Jake Fromm beat him out at practice. But after how this season went and how he defended him, and after the SEC championship, I don't.
I almost feel like Justin Fields. Well, I know Jacob Eason beat him out because the only reason he got in is because Eason got hurt. So, I mean, I already let you know how that went.
The marvelous freshman year.
I mean, at least Kirby had the balls to put Eason in over Fromm at first. But shoot, I mean, he's basically thrown that away over these last 2 years. Just defending him like he's his child, like literally. Not even being funny, trying to get views, trying to be a freaking arrogant Georgia fan. I'm just saying, at some point, you gotta take responsibility on him. He's the biggest factor in the football game. His QB position has the biggest effect on everything and everybody. At some point, you just gotta give credit where credit's due and give blame where it's due.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to see how everything would have played out, because just imagine if Justin Fields did stay. Cager doesn't get hurt. George Pickens doesn't get in fights. And
Shoot, I don't even care about them last two. We had Fields, that's easy. LSU's getting a real matchup.
You changed Georgia's middle school pro style offense.
Just imagine running a daggum RPO with Swift and Fields. Jesus Christ.
That's what I was about to say. Turn Georgia into an RPO type team.
We'll see if Brian Herrion's gonna be good in the NFL or not in this daggum bowl game too. I'm pretty sure Swift. He has declined that he has declared. I'm pretty sure he has declared, but I don't blame the young man. Just go ahead and get your bag.
He said, let's play this bowl game first, and then I'll talk about it.
And there's a bunch of Georgia fans, including the famous Uncle Lou, that thinks they should play, but I don't think they should play. I mean, what's there to... I understand they got embarrassed last year, but really this year they're all banged up. I think they should just rest.
I honestly disagree with the fact that these guys should sit out for the draft, but it's a bowl game. Not many teams get to play in a bowl game. You should feel honored to play in a bowl game, and that's just me. But
Georgia's to the point now though where they're like in the worst place to be because they're in contention, but they're like out. They're like out of that little bubble. They're like so close. So that's like the worst place to be in my mind because you really don't know what you are. You don't know if you're like a fake team or you don't know if you're real. You're just kind of...
They're kind of teetering on the fence, but it's tough for Georgia right now. Any last words? Your thoughts on this conference championship week? Anything that stood out? Anything for the future?
It just shows how even my fandom and hope don't matter. He just gets crushed no matter what. Freaking Joe Burrow just shoved it to me. Congratulations to that beast.
Heisman winner, Joe Burrow.
Broadway Jew.
Next college football podcast will be out around Thursday or Friday to talk about again these playoff games. We'll go a little bit more into detail. I'll have a little bit more statistics for you. I'll have a little bit more in detail depth of these two teams, maybe some series. These teams playing each other, but
yeah, I think the playoff games are a week from tomorrow. I think so.
Yeah. We'll be a little bit more into detail. We kind of just wanted to get this one out for y'all. We've been kind of slacking, but of course we've been kind of stuck with our schedule. But again, this has been the All Sports Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this edition from me and my colleague. This has been the review of Conference Championship Week, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, sir.